Hello there, Qckslvrslash here, and today we have a video from Slipshod Wizard sailing the Tier 8 French cruiser, the Charles Martel. And I really enjoyed getting to this ship, mostly because it just looks so good. I love that main smokestack. The gun layout to me, really effective, and I've been having a lot of fun with the French cruisers, and they just fit well into my playstyle. Now in this match you can see he is joined alongside two division mates, one in a Qckslvrslash, the other a Kagero, which probably means there's going to be at least some smoke available. And a Qckslvrslash and Charles Martel, I think, pair up very nicely. They've got kind of similar playstyles, so to speak, in that a lot of their damage can come from that harassing fire at a distance where your speed and maneuverability make it hard to hit you, and you just light fires and watch health tick off of enemies. They've both got decent torpedoes, well, at least decent range on their torpedoes, and both decently fast, though if my memory serves me, the Martel is the faster of the two, especially once you add in that speed boost. Now, as you can see, the entire team looks to kind of be going A-B, but pretty much the entire enemy team looks to be doing the same. So there's gonna be a good fun gunfight here, and Slip really has to just be careful and keep his hit points early, because in cruisers it can be so hard to lose a huge chunk of your health right at the start, getting spotted, and battleships just having nothing else to shoot at, aim their guns at you, and you might get lucky dodging some shells, but eventually with enough coming your way they're going to hit. Fortunately, only one of those turret shells hit, and Slip managed to get a fire. Unfortunately, it's been put out. But that's good, because it means Slip can just light another one. And this Turpitz is in for a world of hurt. Another fire gets set. You can see it burning away. You can see those friendly Qckslvrslash shells flying his direction too. Looks like the Qckslvrslash has set up in smoke, and he definitely has. And that Turpitz is down to half health, but there's bigger fish to fry in the sea. Right now, this enemy Yami is kind of target number one, because the friendly Montana has made the mistake so many tier 10 battleship captains make. Or not so many, you seem to see it at least once a game, it seems. He charged into a cap alone, found out there was a destroyer there, big surprise, turned broadside on, and probably ate some torps, is down a huge chunk of health. So getting this Yami, or at least working this Yami, kind of an equal amount down is going to be important to just kind of maintain the balance. Because tier 10 battleships, if they can kind of ensure they're the only tier 10 battleship, and they play smart, their guns really make a difference. And you can see there's a couple on each team, but there's not a large tier 10 presence. And that's something I completely missed to mention off the start, is that this is the worst matchmaking you can get. Got a bunch of tier 10s. But if you play the Martel right and conservatively, it's really not an issue, because you shouldn't be getting shot at all the time in cruisers. You know, a big part of your role, deal with the destroyers. Another big part, just that harassing fire, the shells that just don't stop falling on the decks of battleships. And if you can do that, you can just keep getting damage in, let your battleships do the tanking, but make sure they're not alone, you're gonna go far. And you can see already Slip has managed 39,000 damage. And there goes his buddy Qckslvrslash. Some shells just missing the stern of his deck, and things so far, they're pretty even. They're down one ship. They lost a destroyer, but both teams have lost a tier 10 battleship, and both teams have a cap right now. The enemy team, however, looks to have split up a little more. Now you can see the friendly GK and Izumo have kind of positioned themselves to the north of Bravo, you know, in a pretty typical position for battleships, in behind this big chunk of land here to try to minimize how much gunfire is coming at them, and it gives decent cross shots at any one at A, as you can see. Right now, that's where Slip is heading. He just keeps that rudder moving, weaving the ship back and forth, making him harder to hit, and the gun's singing. You do those two things, the damage is going to add up, and you're going to avoid most damage. And I say most because once in a while, someone just spraying and praying is going to get a shell that somehow finds its way to your citadel. And when that happens, you just have to grin and bear it. There's not a lot you can do. Complaining about the game doesn't do anything. Hopefully you survive, make sure you don't get hit again, and then just go back to trying to do damage. Speaking of, it's been a while since Slip managed to do some, finally landing some shells there, up to 42,000, and Slip's working himself into a good position, but it's gonna be dangerous. You can see that enemy Dmitry Donskoy has a Z46 with him, and there is a Yami over there as well. Now, he's got a GK and a Izumo. If they can hit this side on Donskoy, which they just did, they're definitely at the advantage. Unfortunately, that enemy carrier just took out one of Slip's friendly battleships in the form of an Amagi. Not a huge loss because it's a tier 8 battleship, but there's still some good damage that could have come from their guns. And there's the big bad boy, the Yamato, and for shells, gets a fire. That always feels so good. And this entire game, Slip's just been firing HE, and it's a valid strategy so far. There hasn't been any situations where, you know, cruisers or ships that his AP can really penetrate have gotten in close enough to switch ammo types, and that's what you want to do, particularly in these French cruisers early on. I've always kind of maintained that the speed boost is there to allow you to kite and get yourself back to position quickly after you've been kiting. And the damage just keeps slowly adding up. Clearly that fire on the Yami's gone out, but lights another one on the enemy Missouri. And the Missouri sees him, a whole bunch of shells coming this way, but Slip knows how to play. Kept the speed changing, kept the rudder moving, and the Missouri missed. Another fire forces the damage control, but that's just asking for it. You can see a lot of HE going the Missouri's way. Come on, you see the shells, there's no more target, you're praying to get it. Unfortunately, no fire there. And really the only thing with a line of sight right now is Slip's friendly Qckslvrslash, which, you know, he's far enough back that the Missouri has managed to disappear. It was those fires pushing out the detection range that made it possible for him to be seen. Now, things have continued to progress. I don't know where that Yami's looking. Looks like they just turned 180 degrees and the guns still haven't come around. Slip's team is ahead. They've now got 2 of the caps. His divisioned destroyer managed to push into Alpha, get it, force that Yugamo out. Unfortunately, the Yugamo is pushing back in. And just finished off his division mate. But what is this enemy carrier doing? He's closer than most enemy team over on that flank, and probably just had autopilot set, wasn't paying attention, and just got himself into a world of hurt. His game ending way sooner, and you always gotta laugh when carriers make those mistakes. It's one thing if a destroyer goes around the entire map to try to hunt a carrier. You know, you don't play necessarily expecting that because it's not always the smartest move. There's times where taking out a CV is a smart move, but to take yourself out of the game for a really long time to try to like kite all the way around, it's not worth it earlier on. Your smokes, torps, they're worth much more with the bulkier fleet than off alone. Now I do really like what Slip is doing. You can see he's keeping himself behind this big chunk of land and really making sure that very little, if anything, has shots at him. That means a lot of the time he's not having shots the other way, but as you can see right now, he's not detected. He'll be able to shoot at this Missouri and remain undetected, or at least I think he will be. Yeah, this little chunk of land here providing enough cover that he's not getting spotted, and every volley, just a couple thousand more damage and a couple thousand more health that that mighty Mo doesn't have. Another fire there, and everyone is focusing down that poor BB. He's not going to last long, and it's just the way it goes. The damage totals continuing to tick up. The Missouri's health slowly slipping away. He is doing the right smart thing. Missouri has realized he's all alone, he's getting turned out, he's sailing straight away. Unfortunately, he just put out a fire, so all it's going to take is one lucky shot here, and it'll probably be enough to burn that Mo down. And so far, no good, but the health is still dwindling. But there's other things to pay attention to. That Tirpitz from the start of the game and the Otago, who have pushed through Alpha and taken it. Now it looks, if I'm not mistaken, that the Yugamo got finished off at some point. Another first volley fire, and this is really where I think Slip needs to be careful. It's getting into that 10-kilometer range. The Otago has some very punchy 203s. The Tirpitz, while those Germans may not be the most accurate ships, the guns are plenty big to punch right in to Slip Citadel. So getting turned out here, moving away, speed boost active, is the right move, and there's a fire. And at this point, you just fight a running fight. Keep them outside at an arm's length, and just weave, get your guns on when you can, use that rear turret, and just keep lighting fires. Ships will chase for days, and you'd be surprised how many ships will chase straight into the bulkier force, and you can see that. That Tirpitz has kind of just been sailing straight in, and now there's a GK, a Kutuzov, a Des Moines, and Slip all firing at it. Another fire, and he's gonna be a goner too. Now the enemy team has been doing a smart thing, mainly that Z46. You can see he went over, realized Delta's uncontested, I'm gonna go capture it. Got it. C is still captured. They managed to get A. And even as that Tirpitz is finished off, the scores aren't that far apart. Now, the kills aren't that far apart, but the enemy team having 3 of the caps and actively contesting the 4th is gonna be a problem. And you can see the other thing the enemy team is doing really well. They've balled up in a group around that Yami, and they're pushing in hard. They've decided here and now is where we're making the stand, and they're sailing into Bravo. And this could be very bad for bad data there. Slip's division mate, but the Yami is getting focused down. And it may be the Yamato, it may have nearly 100,000 hit points, but it is not invincible. The fires and just gunfire stacking up enough to finish them off. Now Bravo's no longer contested, their point totals can resume, and the Izumu has gotten into Delta. Now, that's a tier 9 battleship completely out of place. That's the one thing I really don't like about what that Izumo is doing. I think it sailed over there kind of shortly after Slip turned back towards Bravo and Alpha. And it's a lot of gunpowder, just not actively shooting. And it's one of the reasons I hate Delta on this map. You're just completely out of the fight if no one else is over there. And they are making the right move. They're going to capture Delta, then sail into Charlie and try to keep these caps even, but probably wouldn't have even mattered had the guns been here, because they would have finished off this Iowa, Z46, and Hindenburg just that much quicker. Now, if I were bad data, I would be going dark. Stop firing, stop trying to do anything. You're worth more as points for your team than the little bit of damage, but I'm guessing he was spotted, or knew he was spotted, because he just keeps firing, and that means the shells just keep on coming. And yeah, he would be spotted with the Z46 in that location. But that is a mistake you see a lot of people make kind of late game. They go, we've got this, it's 6-on-3, and they just keep shooting, hoping to get extra damage, figuring they'll die anyways, but as a result, they throw themselves away and kind of start to balance out the point totals a little bit. Now, that's not going to matter. This game's not coming down to points. You can see the enemy Z46 getting finished off, Slip picking up their first kill at 153,000 damage, and already has Witherer, and just gets a first kill. But hopefully it is not the last. Hindenburg and Iowa, the two remaining enemy ships, the first volley, half the Hindy's health, that'll do. Slip always keeping that rudder moving. And that's really been a big reason why this late in the game, 3 minutes left, Slip still has half their health. Things have shot at them, but just that little bit of weave and just keeping your bow angled is all it takes to preserve most of your health. And a bit of luck like that. The shells splitting either side of the bow, just the Iowa left, and this is a situation where you do not sail around that edge of land. Slip's guns having the arc to fire right on over, and I would probably be hopping onto my torpedo indicator here, just using the lead indicator to tell me what's the Iowa doing. Is it speeding up? Is it slowing down? And you can see there, definitely speeding up, so Slip puts the torps in the water. If this Iowa wants to duel, it's sailing straight into a barrage of fish and continuing to eat damage. Now, definitely a time to be cautious, because that Iowa at this kind of range can finish Slip in a single volley. Those shells clearing the mountain, ooh, 10,000 damage, getting away a little lucky. I don't think there was actually a citadel on that, otherwise I really feel Slip would have been dead. But the torpedoes are looking good, and they end the match. Now that really was, to me, a textbook Charles Martel game. Kept his distance, kept the ship maneuvering, and kept the guns firing. Never really got close enough to any of the battleships, but also on this map, you shouldn't really be charging through caps, not in a ship like this. As part of a battle group, sure. If you've got smoke, sure. But as you can see, just holding back, supporting the friendlies and allies is really the best way. Almost 1.5 million credits. I can guarantee you there's something event-wise related in that. 8,000 experience, Arsonist, and Witherer, 195,000 damage. And in the end, 3 kills. It took a long time for those first kills to happen, and then just cleaned up the 3 remaining enemy ships. And there you have it. Top of the team with that performance. And you can see, Slip also managed to rank out. One of the things I like about having the ranked season active is you get to see kind of where people are making it. So congratulations on that as well, Slip. I'd also like to thank you for sending this in. I enjoyed watching it. I hope people learned something from it, because that's one of the reasons I share these videos. And for those who are maybe struggling with their cruiser play, really just keep a couple key things in mind. Don't sail in straight lines. Don't give your side to really anything, even destroyers, and just keep your guns firing, stay close to friends, and support them, and the good games will happen. Anyways, I hope everyone enjoyed this. If you did, please consider giving it a thumbs up or subscribing to the channel, and as always, I am Qckslvrslash, and I'll have another one for you all later.